But in a situation where you find that a person look at the situation,
not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that.
All right, welcome back. You're watching the Daybreak on Trust TV. Time for us to take a look at the dailies on Daybreak, and we'll begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. The beginning, the headline says the 2023 elections, 96% of female candidates crash out. You have the riders that says 1,553 vie for positions, 72 win. Women clinch 3 Senate, 14 reps, 48 state assembly seats. Money, culture, religion against us, candidates say. It's a disaster for political inclusion. Carry. You'll find all that on page 4. Now, above the lead story, FG yet to begin evacuation of stranded Nigerians in Sudan. That's on page 26. Malaria. Nigeria faces $2.8 billion economic burden, FG says, on page 27. Senate presidency, Barrow, Akpabio, others intensify lobby, visit Tinubu. That's on page 11. Now, below the lead story, you have 29 abducted as kidnappers invade FCT village on page 16. May 29, Kano, Kaduna, FCT, others get new CPs. And that's on page 20. EFCC arraigns Ondo Speaker, 2 others over 2.4 million naira fraud on page 6. Now, the pictorial there shows you a picture of some of the top female candidates in the just concluded general elections. And that's that for the Daily Trust newspaper this morning.
All right, now let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. It has a lead story that says Sudan conflict. Evacuation begins today as federal government releases 150 million naira, hires 40 buses. We have a first rider that says federal government opposes night road trip, logistics hiccups, delayed Tuesday planned evacuation. 3 Nigerian embassy officers escaped death following attacks by Sudan's rapid support forces. And beneath that, we have a pictorial of flood, even as the rains are just beginning. It's a flood that occurred along the Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway. And then beneath that, we have ex-presidential candidate ask court to stop May 29 inauguration. Assault placed to prosecute spare parts dealer, CP fires DPO. We also have federal government cuts power firms from National Grid. And just above the masthead, we have NAS leadership. Tinubu NWC meets contestants. Federal government, U.S. firms sign MOU on a $15 billion rail project. Buhari, president-elect, governors mourn renowned journalist Enahoro, popularly known as Peter Pan. These are the major stories on the Punch newspaper for today.
All right, now let's take a look at this day newspaper. The Guardian. Let's take a look at the Guardian then. The first story there, the lead story that is, talks about funds repatriation. It says airfares hit new high as foreign airlines settle for 582 naira to the dollar, and that's on page 6. You also would find you are replicating Buhari's distasteful foreign medical trips, Huriwa tells Tinubu. Darkness looms as TCN moves to disconnect defaulting discos and gencos. Prosecutorial challenge. Politics may set fleeing Adama Reg free. And that's the concern there raised by some people. I guess you find the details inside the story. Interim government constitutionally forbidding, interim government is constitutionally forbidding fruit, still tempting 30 years after. That's a piece you'll want to check out on that paper. Sudan crisis. FG to airlift stranded Nigerians via safe routes, warns against treacherous journeys. So these are the main stories on The Guardian this morning.
Over now to This Day newspaper, which has a lead story that says, Adamo APC leaders visit Tinubu, consider South-South for Senate President, Northwest for Speaker. And then we have a rider that says, other interests also pushing North Central for speakership. Another opposition party asked court to stop Tinubu swearing in 33 days to inauguration. U.S. grants Nigerians permission to protest against presidential poll. Beneath the pictorial, we have WHO urges Nigeria to commit 80% health sector budget to PHC. And above the masthead, we have World Malaria Day. Poor use of local content poses challenge in combating disease, lawmakers lament. And just above that, we have NDDC, U.S. firm seal $15 billion deal for construction of mega rail line connecting Niger Delta states. Still on the This Day newspaper, we have, this is according to the president, Nigeria spent $19 million to fight piracy in Gulf of Guinea in 2021. These are the major stories on This Day for today.
All right. Now, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, the lead story talks about polls. It says, Obi's case threatened as LP factions fight dirty. You find the detail, that's the riders there. It says, Apapa seeking to scuttle Obi's petition against Tinubu Abure. Puts judiciary, DSS, police, others on notice. It's cheap blackmail, says Apapa. You find also above the masthead, we are under bandit siege. Taraba communities raise alarm. Buhari, Obi, Obaseki, Sanwo-Olu mourn as iconic journalist Peter Enahoro dies at 88 in London. UTME candidate, parents decry system malfunction, technical glitches. You find that on page 7. Niger Delta leaders list sections of PIA for immediate review. You have also how Nigeria can use Japa syndrome for economic development, says Development Bank. You also, World Bank rather, not Development Bank. You also have below the pictorial there, Sudan, evacuation delayed as FG warns Nigerian students against dangerous journeys. Dual citizenship doesn't disqualify anyone born in Nigeria from contesting elections. Wandoka. You also have other stories. PSC approves appointment posting of 12 CPs. Nigeria spent $195 million in 2021 to tackle piracy in Gulf of Guinea, says Buhari. Economic cost of malaria in Nigeria may hit 2 trillion naira in 2030, says the federal government. These are some of the main stories on the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Now let's get some perspectives. We have Ben Sherman, former director of news, VON, with us in Nigeria. He's here with us in the studio to give perspectives to some of the stories. Thank you so much for joining us, Ben Sherman, on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Well, let's begin with the lead story on the Daily Trust newspaper, talking about 96% of female candidates crash out of these elections. That's the 2023 general elections. Ab initio, we saw that only 10% of the candidates in the 2023 general elections were women, which is a decline from the 2019 general elections. And now, even from the 10% that contested the elections, many could not secure their seats. That's the 96% of them did not secure the seats. So what do you make of this? Are we really making any progress?
Let me laugh a bit. I don't think on the side of women there is big progress. And even on the side of the males who indeed are the causative agents, I don't think there is any big progress. Just like you said, crashed out. They were either crashed out or they crashed out. These are two different things, but the issue is they were sent off. Many factors. Some said financial, some said religious, some said cultural inhibitions. I remember visiting a family, a political family, so to speak. There was this meeting, and I had to pass a personal message sent to me to a political party leader. The leader happened to be a woman. And the woman forced the husband to go there. He was just seated under a tree all through the night. And I said, look, is it not better for this man to be at home? In the same vein, you see that men will go for their nocturnal meetings. And some people are saying, if Oga wins now, Madam will take the glory and she's not here. You now find out that they're forcing some women to just go stay under veranda doing nothing because Oga is doing some nocturnal meetings. And that does not Oga well. Let Madam, if she wants, take care of the home front. If Oga is a politician, let Madam take care of the political arena. If Oga is at home, let him stay at home. Now, you come to this issue of money. Truly, many women do not have the financial muscle. This agility, the gratin, the Nigerian factor in politics. The Nigerian woman is not capable of doing that gra. If she does that, they say, boy, whose wife is this?
Is it about the capacity of the women, or is it about the political culture that we have in Nigeria? Because for me, it seems like, what are the requirements for any woman to vie for a political office, or anybody for that matter, to vie for political office? Yes, we know in reality a lot of money goes into the whole process, but then it also raises the question of our political culture. What is the ideal? Is this, what is expected that Nigeria should have, been able to evolve into?
Yes, when we talk of political culture in Nigeria, a culture is a practice, is it not so? That you have associations that will come, pressure group, become political parties, get registered, get some elections, you become candidates, you win. These are political cultures. But within these political cultures, are there things not done the correct way? These are the issues on ground. At the point, some people feel the women should just not be it. They should not be seen here and there. And of course, if you are talking of getting even loans, the males get these loans better, a kind of. Why it is so, I don't just know. So in Nigeria, I think that the practice is just not the best, whereby the women are just being pushed to just a group that is.
Mr. Sherman, out of the number of women who contested, which was just about 1,500 thereabout, only 72 of them won. And out of those 72, 7 are deputy governors, which means that they were not elected on their own because they were there. They were elected because, they are governors. The candidates of the parties won because they are deputy governors. Now, the thing is this. There are lots of African countries today, they have reserved seats for women. They have reserved position. They have a percentage that must go to the women. Because like you noted, we already have this problem of culture, religion, money, and the women are never, it's going to take a long time for the women to be at par or come close to where the men are when it comes to money and all of that. So why is it that Nigeria does not have this percentage reserved for women? Last time a bill came to the National Assembly that a seat should be reserved for a senatorial seat in every Senate, in every state, but it was shut down. So we talk about 35% affirmation, but it's just talk. So why haven't we moved from this point?
You have to have the political will from the leadership. If someone wakes up to say women belong to the kitchen and any other place, and that is the leadership, it gives you a kind of a message that some people will follow. When you have influencers of society, when you have a religious leader, a political leader who passes a comment that is unparliamentary to women and with followers backing him, of course, you know.
Why do we have that? We are the giants of Africa. Other African countries, Rwanda and the others, they have this thing already.
You see, Rwanda, they did that by what you call a fiat. Paul Kagame just felt, look, this is the percentage women should have. And you dare not touch a woman in Rwanda, you know. And it has come to stay because of the person of the president. But in Nigeria, this thing you still call democracy with a mixture of culture and religion. That is where the problem will be. Some societies still believe women should just not be hurt at all. So when you are that forward, they just believe, this woman, you go fit so. What's her background? Who are the parents? Who this, who that? You know? But they don't reject them in hospitals as doctors. You don't reject them as teachers. But where is it that when it comes to leadership, you feel that the women should just be taking instructions, and it does not matter whether the man is qualified enough? You know, it's just not that women should just follow. I mean, when you have a gubernatorial candidate, therefore the deputy should just be following. You don't even know them. How many of these deputy governors that are female serving today do we know when we say current affairs? You just see that they are hibernating somewhere. When, in fact, even when governors go out, even the male governors, deputies, do they even hand over anything to them? You don't hear them at all. You know.
Okay, all right. So let's talk about yet another issue. We are still talking about female candidates, but this time around, it's a slight deviation here. Talking about Aisha Binani, a female candidate that would have become historical, you know, in Nigeria's political history, epical in the sense that a lot of attention was on the politics in Adamawa State, considering the fact that she's a female candidate, a top female candidate in that election. But yet we saw how the whole thing turns out, you know, and a lot of people are like, perhaps, you know, this may have dented, you know, the whole idea of having a female candidate, going by some of the dramatic scenes that we saw in that election, she going to accept, you know, a declaration that is considered illegal and all that. What do you make of that? How does it rub off on other female candidates going forward?
You see, the case of Adama turned out to be that of do or die. I either get it or we rock the boat, a kind of, which, as far as I'm concerned, it didn't go down well when it comes to the female position in the Nigerian politics. You could see that, look, if there is a judgment being written by a judge, he wants to deliver it he has 1 week to deliver judgment. But the 5th day he fell sick, went to hospital. You cannot wake up, carry that judgment, go to the market and announce. There has to be a formal place of where you sit, who declares that, under what law, who are the support, those recognized by law to be there. But when you look at the case of Binani, here you are, who do standing up without a paper before him, without reading figures, and standing, reporters holding telephone, handsets, and he said the winner is this. And as soon as he was finishing, Binani was already accepting, had a prepared acceptance speech that some media organizations also covered. You see, it showed some kind of desperation. If it is yours, it is yours. If we say we are that religious and we say God gives or bestows power to whoever he wants, so be it. If it is Binanis, it is Binanis. If it's Finteris, it is his. So when I saw that desperation, as far as I was concerned, on the side of Benani, I think there was some element of a desperation to me personally. And therefore, whoever was the advisor advising her ought to have known. If you, I can see today she's saying the returning officer disappeared.
All right, Mr. Shema.
Just a moment. If you gave 12 o'clock, and before that 12, you went by 10, and you are already announcing that you can't find him, something went wrong somewhere.
All right, Mr. Shema, it is hoped that that singular act is not going to affect the prospect of women vying or seeking this kind of elective position.
Surely everything is could be corrected.
But my question is, don't you think that the lack of enough women in governance or in these elective positions has an impact or negative impact in the total quality of governance that we have in the country? Because I've been told that women, there's this special spice women bring in wherever, you find them. Not that I'm saying, I've been told,
Yeah, you see, when you're talking of people with the small but big heart, that loving tenderness, give it to the women. And when things are bad in society, they all are first victims. And look, see what is happening in Sudan today. A woman will always remember she has children. See danger, see fire. Where are my children? She will go for them. But the man, when they say he has power, he's looking for the next direction to escape. Now, if you're talking of social miscreants in society, who are the first victims? The woman, the children. And that's why you need the women in these areas, so that at the point when key decisions are taken, their argument will always be, what about the vulnerable group? And by the time the woman defines a vulnerable group, of course the aged are there, male, female. You talk of the children, you talk of the male, female folk. You look at females in school, out of school syndrome. And that's why we need them to neutralize this Manchu man kind of, this showman, this all male kind of society that we see in Nigeria. No, it has to be a man. No, it has to be a man. If today the Nigerian army decided to have a female corps, it has never happened. Where is it? Outside America and some very few others, Nigeria decided to have an all-female corps, and they are doing very well in terms of fighting against terrorism. So what is it that the political terrain that we cannot? These guys are, you have women who are with the infantry, you have them engineering corps, you have them in the intelligence, you have them all over. But why aren't they handle the guns? But when it comes to politics, they say the women are not supposed to be there. When it comes to complicated operations in hospitals, the women are there. When it comes to politics, no, they shouldn't be found. They are in the kitchen. When it comes to, check the police force. You see a police women there. You see a navy, check. You see generals well decorated. But when it comes to politics, no, there should be frying chicken for politicians. No, it shouldn't be. No, I think like the protest that took place last year, they blocked the National Assembly. We deserve to be heard. And I think the women should be heard. They should be incorporated. There's just no way. Tell me the man, indeed, who is not born of a woman, except the one that was defeated, deceived by wizards and witches in Macbeth. So we need the female folk to move forward.
All right. There's a story here on the Punch newspaper that I would like to get your thoughts on. It says, ex-presidential candidates ask court to stop May 29 inauguration. So we are talking about a candidate who contested in the 2019 general elections, not even in the 2023 general elections, from one of the political parties, I think it's SDP or the ADP, where he was saying and making the claim, or I would say rather asking the court to stop the president and the Minister of Justice from inaugurating the president-elect Bola Tinubu. And his argument is that he was the person that won the 2019 general elections, and so his case has not been determined by the Supreme Court yet, and that the President Muhammadu Buhari is still serving, his own tenure, and that he is asking the court to, ask the, cancellation of the inauguration of May 29 until his case is determined in the Supreme Court and all of that. What do you make of some of these kind of petitions? Should I call it petition now,
or such dreams,
or suits rather?
Yeah, you see, he has a right to have some wishes. He has a right to express, vent your anger, so that it ends there. But tell me, so there should be that panel of that time to go continue sitting, who inaugurates that panel again? Even, no, I think that we should move forward.
Is it even possible for his matters to still be before the Supreme Court? This is 4 years down the road, right?
And that's exactly what I'm saying.
The matter this matter is...
we cannot have a case in perpetuity. We cannot...
It's still at the appeal court. It hasn't gotten to the Supreme Court yet.
And are we saying, when Buhari has even ended his regime, so what are you fighting for? And now you're saying the incoming...
so that when the matter is decided, if it is in his favor, then he gets to serve his own tenure before the president-elect. I guess that's the...
Under which party now? Under which
SDP,
period
right?
now? I think this is the whole gamut of confusion. Some people
Lawyers will have to interpret this one for us, because the person he contested with has finished. Will be finishing in a couple of days.
Even if you bring all the sons in Nigeria, except if they want to just enjoy that man's money, he doesn't have grounds. You can't even say he doesn't have grounds enough. He does not even have a soil to stand on. And when we're talking of interim government today, it is alien to the Nigerian constitution. There's no big conflict engulfing the entire nation, to the extent that the government is not in charge. Therefore, we call for interim government.
All right.
That situation does not arise now. The man should not help to heighten tension. If he has some issues, I think he should just be writing some books. Let some political scientists and those who are interested in academics just read.
So for a bit of clarity, we are talking about Ambrose Owuru. He is the presidential candidate of the Hope Democratic Party in the 2019 general elections.
You see, when we're talking of Ambrose Owuru, during the political debate that was organized, I was the one linking all of them with all sorts of letters. His office was in Gwarimpa. Before we could find that office, going up and down here and there, and it was not easy, even galvanizing, bringing them to do all these debates. But today you wake up and you say your case is still pending and all that stuff. It's just like... is it Kurumi now? When there was a war in Jaib, wars those days, and a woman ran to him. I said, Kabi, where is my husband? And I said, look, where many generals are dying, you come to look for, that was, we have reached a peak whereby we cannot begin to retrogress, looking backwards.
All right, Mr. Chairman, before we go, there's a story on the page 10 of the Daily Trust newspaper. It says, Alia kicks over autumn's bogus pension bill for ex-governors. The reason I'm taking interest in this is because a lot of governors are leaving office, will be leaving office very soon, and some of these bills are coming up. The bill is a maintenance bill for the former governor and his deputy. Why that of Benue is a bit peculiar is because it's going to take effect from 1999. It has just passed first reading. And the bill is saying that an ex-governor should be earning the salary of it's called a stipend in the bill, by the way, but it's a salary of a sitting deputy governor. He should be entitled to a house in any city that he wants, 4 cars every 4 years, and to be maintained, of course, and serviced by the state government. And all of this could be monetized and cashed out at once. So the incoming governor, the governor-elect is already kicking. Now, my question is there no other arrangement that can be made for ex-governors so that these kind of bills do not come up? Because I'm wondering, if you have to pay all the former governors of Benue State every month from what comes in or what the state gets, what will be left to take care of other things?
Just like Oguru was saying that he won 2019, or it should be. In other words, Benue too, go and take care of Aparaku. That time, Moses Adaku.
No, 1999, so it's George Akume.
No, right from when Benue was created, increase the military. But honestly, jokes apart, Stella, when a governor, those already practicing it, when a governor is leaving office, he has to have a house in Abuja. That is the one that they say retirement as a governor. Apart from the ones he's been having, he has one. Then in the state capital, then in his own local government, he has to have 3. Then you have cars. Every 4 years you change. Then all these houses, you must have house helps, drivers attached. And these people don't have any of those things, yet they collect this money. These are also people who indeed contested and won, and they are in the Senate, still claiming all sorts of monies and allowances.
Some are even ministers.
Some are ministers. Then when one is fortunate to become Senate president, gentlemen, what is it that some of us should not forego? You look at how much you have received as governor, denied local governments of their funds, denied your state assembly of their funds. Everything is with His Excellency, who was sworn in using the Quran and the Bible. And there is nothing to show in many cases. And you have, I think the reverend gentleman who is the governor, look, it's not easy for you to be a reverend father and to be a governor. You have to do that thing you do justice to all manner of people. So, it's not going to be easy for him. Therefore, I think for justice to prevail, I'm on the side of the governor-elect. And all governors, state governors who are already implementing all of these things, they should have a rethink.
Okay.
They should.
Well, that's leaving it to their conscience anyways. But I'm thinking if we can have something much more binding on them, to be able to...
Now, how do you do that when indeed you are the chief executive officer, they make the law, they say force the assembly, sign this quick, and all that.
All right. But we'll look forward to, some of these reforms, some of these changes in governance. Thank you so much, Ben Chairman, for joining us on Daybreak this morning and sharing your perspectives with us. Now, we'll take a short break. When we return, top of the hour, we'll be taking a look at the headlines again and much more. Join us again.
But in a situation where you find that a person look at the same,
Not necessarily tribal or regional.
but I have said that